tip.
Did you get your itch?
Huh?
Did you get your itch?
No, can you? Here's a tip, if you ever want something to hold your grill, just put it in the hole. It looks kind of funky, it looks weird, but I like it. Anyways, we're going to be talking about Deadpoints and Dynos in this one. This is going to be like the last thing that we talk about. These are probably going to be the most, like, you're going to get the most shit for these if you try to set these, but hopefully with some tips that you can set ones that you won't get annoyed by. Really the easier one of the two is going to be a dead point, and the way to force that. I mean, you can force a dyno, but like the accessibility part of it is hard. But anyways, the dead point's going to be easier to force for everyone and be the same move for everyone. Reason being, similar to like mantles and rockovers, you want your feet relatively high compared to your hands, more in a scrunch position. If you can force a scrunch position for everyone, everyone's going to be balled up and have to move out of it based off where their next hold is. If you can think about like the scenario for a mantle that we had where it's like scrunched up and then I could have like dynoed through or like dead pointed through it, that's why I'm using that exact word there. I can just go ahead and reach out or like stand up powerfully out of a move. So I'll try to set one of those right now. I'm gonna pick some holds again. So I'm going to have these two holds in line. They don't necessarily have to be in line, but again, I'm trying to keep my hands lower compared to my feet. My feet I'm going to place around here so you can probably see that like scrunch position. And I can spring and push up out of it to stand up. So I'm going to have that left foot there. Actually, I lied. Better force the sequence that I want, and hopefully to get you all thinking, if you can guess why I just did what I just did. Based off that earlier video, if I want them to go right hand, you can probably tell I do based off the feet. I didn't have access to anything over here for my right foot if I had that left foot where it was before, so I wouldn't have anything to push off of. I would have to put both their feet like square with each other, and it doesn't really tell them which way I want them to go. This way, because I had a left foot over here and now I can place the right foot here, now I'm forcing them to move the right hand up, or I'm trying to tell them to. Something to do with this as well, what we talked about earlier, I could have made this left hand better than the right hand. Again, I want to hold on to my left hand, let go of the right hand because my right hand's a worse hold, and then move that one up. Or I could offset these so that like this. Typically you want to stick to the higher hold out of the two because one of them, or like as you're moving up, you want to gain the most reach that you can. If I stay from here and reach up versus staying from here and reaching up, I get more reach out of the higher hold. But I think we can stick to there. The hold being here compared to the foot seems kind of scrunched, so let's stick to that. And again, we're just going to pick a hold. I'm going to pick that brown hold with the number 8 tag on it to be my hold I'm going to. Let's say I put that one up there. Okay. Now if I try the position, hopefully this gray hold isn't in the way. I'm just turning it to make it more comfortable. So left foot on, right foot on. I can stand and reach to a hold. I didn't have to jump. That's kind of the distinction between a dead point and a dyno. Is for a dyno, you typically have to leave all your points of contact, or at least your feet leave their points of contact where you're fully jumping. Versus a dead point, I can keep my foot on and reach up to it. Something about this as well, you're going to take height into consideration and think about the height factor of it. The way I like to test it, put my foot on the hold that I expect them to stand on, and then reach up with my arm. For me, I take it, if I can hit my elbow to something, then they have no complaints about it. If I can get to about here on my arm, that's where like the actual line is for most people, is like we compare wingspan. So I know for me, that's what I compare to. I'll go ahead and climb up now and just test that to make sure the reach is fine. deeper holds to climb up. This isn't actually part of my route, it's just helping me climb up. Okay, so in this position, right, I can get my elbow to it. I have my foot here on the foot I want them to go from. And then also, right, standing up. If I'm standing directly over that foot, I can get my elbow around this region to it. Should be alright, should be accessible for everyone. Okay, talking about dynos now. This is, like, again, the more controversial one, kind of the weirder one to force and make equal for everyone. The way that I think about it is there's two kinds, and then the combination. There's going to be straight, like up and down, straight vertical, there's horizontal, and then like diagonal, like the combination of the two. The best way to force one that's going to be equal or fair for everyone is going to be promoting more of a horizontal movement or more of a sideways movement. The reason being, when you're moving up and standing up, I have bigger reach this way than more people than I do this way than more people, if that makes sense. Also, if I'm leaning and following one way, my feet are going to want to, like, if my body's moving one way, my feet are going to follow. Does that make sense? If my body's moving straight up, my feet are also just like straight up and down and just stay on my holds, my foot holds. If I'm going to the side, right, if I'm going like here and I'm going to the left, going this way, if I go too much, oh my God, don't do that. As my body comes off, my feet are going to follow and come off the wall as well. Hopefully you can see that and visualize that, and I'll try to set that now. Typically though, we want to get people up the wall, so you take a combination of the two and go at a diagonal. The thought process behind this wall is kind of the same with the dead point. I want to promote them with one hand more than the other. We don't have to talk about that anymore.
The sun is so bright. Okay, there we go.
Huh?
Continue. The sun was just really bright.
Okay. What I'm thinking about right now is just thinking about like the movement I want them to have, and also the work that I'm going to have to put in right now to make this happen.
We can stop
Okay.
the. Okay.
What? Got a lot of studying on the job. Yeah, I'm kind of intentionally not talking right now when I'm doing all this. Hopefully you can like see my thought process, and I'm going to explain it. What I have right now, and I'll go ahead and put something else on. Okay, and this is something I haven't talked about just yet. So the hands, if you can try to guess what I'm trying to do right now. I have my right hand here, my left hand here. I get one of these 2 feet. I get my other foot on the natural here. I can use that to promote and move myself kind of along the line that way. Where that blue hole is, but like the next bolt hole over. I'm not actually gonna put it there, because I don't want to. Well, let's just imagine I put like this jug hold over there. I'll go ahead and take this one off. Okay, so I'm gonna be in this position, left foot, right foot. The reason I have both my feet here is that if you're ever unsure about something, if you're ever unsure about like options, then put a lot of options and just take off the ones that you don't use or you don't find necessary. The reason I already had this foot on, I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. Instead of taking it off, putting this and putting it here, I just added this one because maybe I'm wrong, maybe this one will work, I don't know, maybe I want both options. So with that, I just left them both on, and then I'm gonna take away the one that I don't need or don't want. I'm guessing right now I'm probably gonna use this one, but I don't know yet. Okay, with my hands set up, I'm gonna move stuff so I don't die. Again. Okay. And again, I'm just kind of aiming for this corner over there. I'm going to set my feet up, like I said, and then I can move and go over that way. If you notice, even if I caught that hold, if there was a hold there, my feet, what I was talking about earlier, my feet would have came over and came off just because of my own momentum bringing me over that way. In that, I'm achieving like the dyno movement where all my points of contact are coming off the wall and moving. And it's also still being accessible for most people. This is like, again, where the weird and the tricky stuff starts is because dynos can also be like a strength and a power thing. It really depends on the grade you're going for here. I would say for me personally, if I ever set a dyno on something that's like 5'10", 5'11", I make sure I can static it. And that's just about the way it's gonna go because, or maybe not static, but like deadpoint it. I can reach with my feet still on the hold or whatever. Maybe they cut later on. But just like a reach-wise, I'd rather it be more accessible for everyone. And then I get like the, maybe not like the fun dynamic move, but I'm still able to climb around and everyone's still able to climb around. Versus if I make it where I have to dyno, then I fuck someone else over and I don't want to do that. So yeah. But if I'm going for a route that's more like, like 5'12", 5'13" sort of deal, I'm going to make sure everyone has to jump. And then there's also a power component to that where I can make sure, like, if you're stronger, you're going to be able to push harder off your arms and you can make up for the like height issue or the height factor. And that I can make sure that they are like further dynos and stuff like that. But again, that's kind of, it's like a weird gray area. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully these gave you some ideas if you want to set a dyno, like the way to approach it and go about it.
Good?
Good.